Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the We Know Traitors podcast over here on RHAP. A very exciting time for us here as we're about to dive into all things Celebrity UK Traitors Season 1, Week 1, which consists of episodes 1 and 2. And we're going to see how that all plays out. We're going to introduce a lot of you to a lot of these celebrities. I'm going to learn about quite a few of these celebrities, I imagine. But one thing's for certain, we're going to have a good time and we are in the right hands. First, one of the hands is me, of course, your host, the Duke of Deception, Pooya and Annabel, ready to break things down. And with me is the one and only, the irreplaceable Annabel, aka the Pharaoh of Flap Flap. Annabel, how you doing?
Oh my gosh, like not to be dramatic, but this is one of the best things to ever happen to me in my life. I am just so grateful to be alive while this is happening. This is incredible. This is perfect. Like all the way through the episodes, I'm grinning like a mad woman. I'm so excited to share this with you because like I know you have no concept of how huge this is, and it's huge, Pooya. It's huge.
And the thing is, so for example, with like the US traders, I do the deep dive on every person and learn about them. I didn't do that with this cast. I thought it would be way more fun because I knew you were going to be well versed. So I was like, I think it'd be way more fun if I'm approaching it as I'm seeing them all as regular folks. So that doesn't like taint my, oh, like, okay, this is like a highly regarded person. So I can like, be like, I don't think this was the appropriate move or whatever. But then I can get all the context as we go along with you. Because I think total, I knew 4 of them coming into this, maybe 5. We'll look at the graphic. We'll talk about it in just a second. But just seeing your messages throughout the week, I was like, okay, Annabelle's going to come in with a lot of detail, which is going to be huge.
I'm just so thrilled. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm British. I was born in England. My whole family's from England. And as the Brits are apt to do, we said, screw this weather, and moved over to Australia when I was a child. So, I am culturally Australian in that I grew up here. I'm kind of a more divorced from the day to day of what's going over back in England. But you know, I grew up on UK TV, on BritBox. Like, I know almost all of this cast. I apologize to any of our British listeners for things that I miss or get wrong, but seeing this cast, I'm gagged. I'm just gagged. And it is like the parasocial relationship I have with some of these people. It's like watching my grandfather play the traitors. It's insane.
Oh, you're telling me you're gonna get your feelings hurt this season. You're gonna be
Oh,
heartbroken.
like I'm so emotionally invested in this. It's like this cast is A-list. It is, you know, I know most of them growing up on the other side of the world.
Hmm.
In Britain, this cast, like you know all of them.
Okay. So we should just dive into the cast then. I
Yeah.
think that makes the right sense. And I imagine there's going to be some of you who, first of all, if you're listening to this on the audio pod, welcome in. We're going to be naming everybody, so you have no worries. But bit of a treat, bit of a heads up. We are doing video as well. So if you go to the Rob Has a Podcast YouTube channel, you should be able to see us and Annabelle's dog and the graphic for the cast, so you can see the faces to put them with the names. Okay, deal. All right, Annabelle, let's cook. This is our cast.
Okay.
19 people from all across of UK, as far as celebrity status goes, professions go, are gathered here to play the traitors. Now, before we dive in any further, I just want to give an overarching thought on watching the 2 episodes. I am very pleased with how invested and into this the celebrities are, because I have watched, like, obviously I'm not even going to count Traitors US as part of a celebrity, because they're all reality TV celebrities, so they kind of know what they're doing. Most of them, they know the format. They understand to make TV. I've watched US Big Brother celebrity seasons, and those people do not know what they're doing. They're not there to play. They do not care. So the fact that you're telling me this is some high caliber list, and I'm seeing this level of investment and care about the game, makes me so goddamn happy.
Oh, they are in it. And, you know, we've discussed before, The Traitors is absolutely massive in the UK.
Yes.
Huge. And it, you know, these people are genuine fans. They're not here for the money and the appearance fee because they would
Mhm.
get way more money staying at home and doing their regular day job. Like, these guys are here because they've watched the Traitors, they're huge fans of the Traitors, and they thought it would be super fun to go out there and play. And I thought these 2 episodes were thrilling. Sure, we get a bit blue balls at the end of the second episode, but that didn't even make me mad because I was just so over the moon the whole way through.
Yeah, it got me mad a little bit because so I caught up with this minutes before hopping on with Annabelle, and I genuinely couldn't believe that we are about to talk about just one murder, no banishment after week 1, especially because I feel like me and Annabelle podcasting together with the Traitors, we're used to getting so much murder and so much coverage for 3 episodes that this is different, but I'm not mad at it if it means we get either more episodes or a longer run here. That could be fun for us.
We need more time to talk about this cast, okay? We can't be dissecting the banishment when we've got to go through this entire cast and educate you on how important and fabulous these people are. And it was so fun. I mean, Alan Carr, the gaggery, the memes that have come out of these 2 episodes, considering we didn't get any banishments.
Yeah, no, right. I haven't been able to check the online content yet, but I know it's going to be good.
It's incredible. Oh, it's incredible. All right, let's start top left. Tom Daley. Have you ever heard of Tom? Impressions of Tom?
Yes. I knew he was an Olympian. I knew what sport he was an Olympian for. But beyond that, I didn't know anything of him. Like, I don't know his personality or anything like that.
Tom Daley is our Twink King. Okay. We stan. Tom Daley gets brought up in my group chats, I'd say at least once a month, the twink icon that he is. He is an Olympic diver since retired. He loves knitting, he loves fashion, and just like, what a little diva. I felt like he delivered so much over these 2 episodes. I love that he's just obsessed with Kate. Like, Kate lives rent-free in his head. He knows she's a traitor. He's here to get her banished. He's taking the game so seriously, and he's just so sassy.
He literally ran all the way back in that mission to look at the symbol and deliver that. I was like, for what, $2,000? Like, this is what I mean with this caliber of celebrity. They don't need to do that. The fact that they're doing that means a lot to me. I'm very happy about that.
Tom is like one of the more famous Olympians as well. Like, he's a big deal, particularly in the gay community. Like, over here in Australia, we are discussing him on the regular. What is Tom up to? When I dropped in the group chat, oh my God, you'll never guess, Tom Daley is on the Traitors. Everyone was screaming and immediately went to watch.
Can you write in this group chat? Because I'm assuming it's a group chat with your friends, right? Write in this group chat and say, who would you like to see back on the Traitors again, me or Tom Daley? And then I'll get my answer off the air.
Oh, don't worry. Twink on twink violence is real. It's often them hating on Tom Daley.
Oh, I thought it was the opposite. Okay, good to know.
No, it's jealousy. It's jealousy. They're all jealous of him because he's so hot. Like, he's just there to be hot. I did not expect him to be as smart as he's been. And I don't know that his reads have been great, but like, Tom for loud and wrong, I think he's going to be so much fun. And I am manifesting some sexual tension between him and Stephen Fry.
Okay, more on that in a second then.
Yes. Okay, what about Kat Burns?
I've never heard of Kat. Kat is brand new to me.
Kat is also brand new to me. I hadn't really heard of her before this, but my friends had. So apparently she went viral on TikTok during COVID, sharing her own original songs and also covers. And now she's like a charting singer. One of her singles made it to number 2. I have been listening to some of her music over the last few days, and it's soothing but a bit melancholy, kind of gospel vibes. I've been enjoying it, and she is incredible on this show, don't you think?
I 100% think so. She was the one traitor pick that I thought, I am intrigued by this because this is someone whose name I've never even heard before. But I think she's delivered big time, coming in as the youngest cast member also. So I'm very intrigued by Kat. Also, I just listened to the song in the background just to see, because once you said TikTok, I was like, there's a chance I've heard this in my algorithm. I've never heard this. So
Okay.
but I am very intrigued. I mean, this is the thing for me with celebrity seasons. It's the celebrities I already know. I am excited to see, but also I'm excited to meet new ones. And as long as I like them, that's a good shout.
I think she's really smart. She's a big fan of the show. I think that, I've got her as a traitor who could do really, really well. She doesn't have main character syndrome. In fact, she tells us she doesn't like to be the center of attention, which does
Yes.
make her somewhat different to the others.
Hmm.
She doesn't need to be in charge or drawing loads of attention to herself. I can see her doing really, really well in the game.
I also feel similarly. I do think, because initially the energy I was getting from, which also, by the way, I know that I've already said one, we are going to tell you who the traitors are. This is a full spoilers podcast. So if you have not watched, this isn't a cast preview podcast. We're about to tell you everything that we've seen so far. So keep that in mind. Pause if you need to, but otherwise, full steam ahead.
Okay, next up, we have the undeniable standout star of the show, just absolutely Sean, meme king, love him, Alan Carr. Surely you've heard of Alan Carr.
I have heard of Alan Carr. And it's very, and like by name more than anything, but it's very evident just off the 2 episodes that Alan will steal every scene he is in, whether he means to or not. Like he's not, it doesn't feel like he's a camera hog. I feel like the camera finds him, not the other way around.
I was so, 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 so excited to hear he was on this cast. Like, I just knew he was going to be absolutely perfect. I would have never have picked him as a traitor. I'm so glad they did. He's kind of like, for those who aren't familiar with Alan Carr, first of all, check yourself. Second of all, he's like a celebrity talk show host, kind of like Graham Norton, but with a less evil aura. He's just super likable, incredibly disarming. He's not at all posh. He doesn't
Hmm.
come from an aristocratic background, which kind of marks him out, is different from some of the people or most of the people in this cast. But he is just absolutely hilarious. Everybody loves him. His chat show is called Chatty Man. He and clearly has a lot of friends here. I mean, people know he's really close with Paloma. He's also worked with comedian Joe before. Like everyone there's going to know who he is. He is so messy, like nonstop giggling, loudly talking about the murders to his other traitors in a room full of people.
Oh my God.
I just when he looked at the camera and said, "I'm the worst traitor ever. I'm even worse than Linda," I screamed.
I died because I was not expecting him to know ball like that. And to drop a Linda name drop on the celebrity edition this just goes to show what you said earlier, that this show really is taken seriously and also very popular in the UK currently.
Crazy. I watched The Uncloaked because, like, I just couldn't get enough of this.
Yes.
Again, you can't understand how deeply obsessed I am with this particular version.
I'm beginning to.
Mina Yeah, Mina from the last season said that Alan was giving, she couldn't remember the names, but one of the traitors from last season of the US. I think she meant Carolyn. I think Carolyn would be offended by the comparison, personally. I can see it insofar as I don't think the rest of the cast are going to take Alan that seriously or view him as a threat. And I think it's going to take them quite a long time to seriously consider the idea he's a traitor.
It's a
But,
fair
and,
point
and so,
considering that the discount factor, the fact that he thinks he's being obvious and no one's looking at it as he's being obvious at all. We
yeah,
are, but
like,
not them.
I don't think he can win because he's going to put his foot in his mouth. Like, if this man doesn't accidentally loudly announce to the room that he's a traitor, I'll be shook. But
Mhm.
he is the entertainment hit. The way episode 1 ends with him fondling the lily like it's a man touching a breast for the first time. I couldn't. It's so perfect.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where Alan goes, and I'm honestly happy he's in our turret also.
The best pick of all time. Okay. Next, this has got to be one of the other ones that you know of. You know Stephen Fry.
Who? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Yes, I have heard of Stephen Fry. This was the name when I was rattling off names to Liana. She lost her mind at the idea. She was like, "There's no way they're gonna get him." Like, because this was when it was rumors. She was like, "There's no way he's gonna be on this list." Like, this is what made her think the list was fraudulent. So, yes, I'm very familiar with how big Stephen is. I became even more familiar within the first 5 minutes of the show. It was so clear this person is our main celebrity here.
Yeah, he is far and away the most famous here because he is just in a whole fresh league of famous. I actually can't. It is so much that I'm getting to watch Stephen Fry play the Traitors. He's a bit of a toff, and I love
What does that mean?
like he's very posh.
Okay,
It,
yeah, I
it
see that.
he's so Stephen Fry. I mean, honestly, them racing back from the mission, everyone's sitting around strategizing. Meanwhile, he's racing off to the library to check how many people died in Hamlet. And it's like, it's not a library without the complete works of Shakespeare. He's opening up the round table, quoting Sherlock Holmes. Like, okay, when I said this is like watching my grandfather play the Traitors, this is who I'm talking about. I grew up with this man, like watching him on Blackadder, listening to him narrate everything. I've read all of his books. Like, I just love him so much. Him talking about being a naughty schoolboy and throwing in unnecessary French. The Stephen Fryisms every minute is just so much. I asked ChatGPT like who would be the equivalent in terms of fame and like cultural significance in the US because I needed a reference point. Because again, he's on everything. He's so intelligent. He's so culturally important. It threw out Stephen Colbert and Tom Hanks. And I'm like, no, I don't think you're getting it, ChatGPT. Like, Tom Hanks, maybe, but I don't think that really captures the centricity to British culture. Like, Stephen Fry, if I was going to name a cultural figure, that's who I think of.
I'm trying to think of the American equivalent, but also I'm the worst for that stuff. So I'm not. There's worse people on the network for that stuff because my pop culture is not that bad. I don't know. I don't know who I would compare him with, but everything you're describing, I'm getting that from watching him. And like I wrote in my notes during that first roundtable that if Stephen Fry was just present as a figure at every roundtable of every season, I would be very okay with it. He just has this way of like porting conversations and bridging the gaps that I was very much into. And I could see him if he wanted to. He could be the host of one of these shows, one of these franchises.
Yeah, he hosts a show called QI, which is a bit like a sort of celebrity comedy slash trivia show, and he's really
Mhm.
brilliant on that. I don't know if he's like silly enough to host it, but I would love to see him host anything. Also famously loves a twink. I think he's now married to one, but I still ship him and Tom Daly.
Well, I also did get a kick out of him being the one who knew who Niko was. And Niko was like, I was going to hide behind being a YouTuber. This guy knows my shit. Like, this is wild to me.
I don't know. Like, Nico's response was so accurate because if Stephen Fry knew who I was, I would literally be deceased. Let's talk about Niko because I never heard of him, but when I heard he was a YouTuber, I thought, I bet Pooya does know him.
He's probably the one I know the most. Like,
Okay,
who I've seen
educate
most
me.
content of. So first of all, Niko literally ran for mayor of London. So he did do that. Bit of a content thing, but also he fully was in the running. So I don't know what to tell you. But then he is a very big YouTuber in the UK scene. He kind of came up on watching the Sidemen, who are the biggest YouTube group, arguably. And then him and a couple of other big YouTubers also made their own group called the Beta Squad. And he is the part of that group. And also, I think he is arguably the biggest YouTuber in that group. And he is known for his pranks and elaborate shenanigans that he's caused. He's done like he'll go and interview a man in the most racist city in the United States. He's done that before, but he'll do elaborate stuff like he put one of his own paintings in which fate was it, the Louvre? I'm not sure. He's like done stuff like that where he'll like actively go above and beyond to do the most elaborate prank for just content. Not so much pranks, and I could be corrected on this because I haven't watched like, everything he's done, but he's not like the prankster you're thinking of, which is I'm going to harass the public and then yell it's a prank, bro, when they're about to like beat me up. He doesn't do that. It's mostly stuff like this, where there's a lot of planning. He's getting into elaborate costumes. So like he had this whole series where he tried to infiltrate boxing matches and like get inside the ring. So he's done stuff like that. Yeah, he does a lot. And I will say, a very hard worker in his field, Niko is. But when I saw him on this cast, I worried for him because I thought, I've never seen Niko take things really seriously. So I feel like they're going to chew him up and spit him out. And then he cares about the game. He's trying not to get murdered and shit. And I'm sad because, listen, I don't need this cliffhanger to tell me I think Niko's going to get banished. And I'm going to be devastated when it happens.
Oh, strongly disagree. I think Kate is gone.
Okay.
But okay, interesting to hear. He seems, and they're saying there that he's really intelligent. Is that something you got from his prank videos?
I think because of the nature of the content he does, it's so easy to discount him. But I think people underestimate how much mind and logic and planning and sophistication goes behind getting to the top of the YouTube algorithm, staying on top of the YouTube algorithm, and also this man's legitimately planning heist level pranks. Like this is layers and layers of scheming that you have to do and logistics you have to go through to get that done. I couldn't do it. And you know, when people make the argument of like, oh, YouTubers, these influencers, they have it easy, I would argue that Niko has had to go out of his way to try these things to do it. It's not, you know, he could phone it in and do some React content. He's doing a lot more than that. So I think he's a lot more intelligent than people think. But I think even for me, I would have rated him not that intelligent because his content. I think it's very easy to discount someone like that.
Interesting. No one, I would say, is taking it more seriously than he is. Like Tom Daly could give him a run for his money, but Niko is all in. He's like super strategizing all the time. Like giving off sort of paranoid, nervous energy that I think is causing some people to think he could be a traitor, but you can tell he really cares. Like my man wants to catch some traitors. He doesn't want to get murdered. He really wants to be there. Like I actually stan him. I would love to work with Niko.
Same. I'm very much enjoying him. He's also the first person to bring up I think one of us young folk have to be in that turret. He was talking about it with Ruth. So I think he's the only one currently looking at Cat, maybe. Not vocalized, but that's something to keep in mind. Yeah, I feel like also the other part is you look at the room you're in and you want to impress. These are all the people you've looked up to and watched growing up. You want to impress this room. You're like the sole like YouTuber here. You wanna represent.
I can barely function watching it. Being there would be too much. So Niko, you're there for all of us. All right, Nick Muhammad. I am obsessed with him. Do you know him?
I have watched Ted Lasso 15 times over. He's my op. He was my op. As a brown man, I was so pissed off with him watching Ted Lasso, but he won me over. So we're okay now. We're friends.
But it was the character, not the comedian, right?
I've divorced the character from the actor, yes. And also, low-key, the man has a mind for these missions like no one's business. He single-handedly got them the money in that mission. I don't care what anybody says. If not for him, they're not getting past gate 2 and 3.
Oh, I love him. He's so smart. He's so hot.
And
great on Ted Lasso. Yeah.
And we haven't talked about Celia yet, but I feel like he spoke for a lot of people when he ditched his grave to help Celia get a shield day one.
Celia needs to give this man so much more credit. Like, let me tell you, he got her a shield. He also stopped her from giving up that shield by solving the puzzle when she was volunteering to give hers away.
He went into flow state when she went to volunteer and he just solved the puzzle. Like he just went over and got it done.
Yeah, and meanwhile, she's like, I don't know about Nick. Seems kind of weird that he would help me. I'm like, girl, they've not even selected the traitors yet. You keep Nick's name out of your mouth.
I
I
was
love him.
bricking it
I
a
think
little bit.
he's great. I've seen him on Taskmaster as well. Like,
Hmm.
he's just fabulous. And I am a bit disappointed he isn't a traitor, but I love our traitors so much. I can't complain. All right,
Yeah.
Paloma Faith. What about her?
I know her because I've watched a lot of Graham Norton interviews before, and I've seen her on the panels before. I don't know much about her music, but I don't know much about her beyond that.
I love that you're a Graham Norton fan. We love Graham
Yeah,
Norton as well.
I've binged a lot of Graham. Like Graham Norton was my go-to talk show when I was in university over like all the US stuff because it felt the most like chill and the most non bring three stories and I'm going to like vaguely bring them up and make you segue them. Like I didn't like that.
You need to go to Chatty Man because it's like even more chill. He can break
Ooh.
anybody out of their shell, I'm telling you. And his like
Okay.
thing is that he makes them a drink behind the bar at the start. Anyway, it's amazing.
I'm in.
You've got to watch it. Love
Okay.
Paloma Faith. I don't know that much about her. Like I've seen some of the things that she's in. Her song Only Love Can Hurt Like This is always on my Spotify Wrapped as the most played. I, however, did not know how fun and kooky she is. I thought she was a bit mad, and I mean that as a compliment. I just thought she was one of the main characters of the first episode.
Easily. Easily. I mean, I would even argue one of the main characters of the first half of the second episode, even.
Yeah,
Yeah.
incredible. All right, Joe
Well,
Wilkinson.
Joe Wilkinson. Okay, so I think I've heard this person's name before. He almost looks familiar, but I'm trying to not let the familiarity of the look get me there. I'm trying to see if I know this person based off of the name. So tell me more about Joe Wilkinson.
Okay, so Joe Wilkinson is a comedian. I when I saw him, I recognized him but couldn't place him, and then realized, oh, I saw him on Taskmaster. He's
Okay.
he's a comedian with a very dry sense of humor. He apparently supported Alan Carr on tour and apparently won the celebrity version of the Great British Bake Off. So
Oh.
we love that for him. I loved it when he's like, oh, I would love to try, but I'm a weak-willed sheep. But he seems to be doing a fairly good job. I also got super mad at him when Lucy I was like, yes, amazing, a fan. She knows what to do. They're in the starting cars. Lucy suggests they make a starting car alliance to keep each other safe. And Joe just immediately shuts it down. He's like, oh, no, I'm kind of a lone wolf. I'm like, stop ruining it.
I also like that Joe was one of the main ones advocating for Niko at the round table to be like, based on how scared you've been of dying, I don't think it's you.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
great. Claire Balding.
Okay, I'm not familiar with her game.
No. Okay, I do know Claire Balding. She is like a sports presenter. She always does the Olympics, iconic sports gay.
Mhm.
And as we know, the lesbians, they do very well. So I can see Claire going far for that reason. I'm not super familiar with her personally. Like it took me a minute to recognize her. She's a posh lesbian. What can I say?
She seems like she's more willing to get down and dirty and take control if need be, which I'm excited to see someone try and push back and see
In
how
that
that
first
conflict goes.
mission, when she accidentally completely flubs it.
Why'd you put? She was like, I was just gonna test. I was just gonna do a bunch of trial and error. Yeah,
Oh.
I'm surprised that didn't come back to bite her a little more. She didn't get brought up at that round table.
No, I'm surprised she didn't get more heat from that. All right, we can kind of gloss over Joe Marler. Joe Marler's a rugby union player. I don't know him. My dad knows him and likes him. I think, he's been quite fun for the sports bro.
So I'm a big rugby guy, and
No, you're
Joe,
not.
no, no, I'm not. um, but like when I see like a rugby player or an athlete on these things, more often than not, if I'm not familiar with them already, I know I don't see them as they're going to be a huge personality here. Joe is, which I think is
Yeah.
huge. For me, I was like, okay, this is a great rugby pick. I think we're in a good spot here.
Yeah, he's great. You haven't been online seeing it, but there's a really good video he did of him voting at the round table where he's just revealing his votes, where he's grossly misspelled all of their names. And it's just very funny.
Oh,
I
okay.
rate him.
Yeah.
All right, Charlotte Church. I didn't.
have heard of her.
You had heard of her?
I think I've heard of her. Am I thinking of another Charlotte? I have to look it up real quick.
Okay, I didn't really know her before this. I'd heard of her. Very sensual. I am feeling her. Like those breasts, oh my god, they are another character within themselves. And the way she kind of just poured at the dirt in the graveyard, obsessed. So she was a famous soprano at age 11, which is why I'm like surprised you might know her.
Is that like a classical singer? A soprano?
Yes, so she's a classical singer, like operatic. But then was very famous in the tabloids. Like as a teenager, were always bullying her in the tabloids.
wow.
She was one of the people who was paid out in the News of the World scandal. And apparently no longer a millionaire. She has lost all of her money spending and failed investments, which is a major mood. So Charlotte, definitely on my crush list.
I do not think this is the Charlotte I'm familiar with. There's another Charlotte somewhere. Yeah. Okay. Who's Lucy?
I mean,
tell me more about Lucy.
Yes. Oh, I love Lucy. Okay, so I've seen her on Taskmaster as well. There's a running theme here. She's got like a very deadpan comedy where she plays this sort of like, I don't know, ditzy persona, which is hilarious. It is funnier than it sounds, which is why I thought she was such a good choice for the Traitors. Because again, I think she's one of those people who it's easy to underestimate. She's good at putting on a character of knowing less than she does, and it's clear she's a big fan. Like she is the one who's out the gate trying to make a starting car alliance.
Yeah, and I think that I believe she's the one who they vote to be the one that got murdered in plain sight, right? Which I think so.
Yes,
right? It was,
yes, she was. Yeah.
To me, that's always a good indicator of they just think you're faithful. So
yeah,
and I think that's working out for her. So I think she's going to get exactly what she wants, which I think is hide in the background a little bit.
And I don't think the Traitors will see her as a threat. Like, there's always the danger that she's seen as too faithful and they murder her. But I don't think she's going to come off as threatening in these early days.
Yes, I agree. Also, worth noting, Liana's very excited for this season because she loves Taskmaster and has watched every season multiple times. So
where's Liana?
She's busy.
Okay, all right. Anyway, amazing taste, Liana. Love you. Okay, Mark Bonner, I immediately recognized him but couldn't place him, which I think is a good kind of explanation as to who he is. He's been on a million things. He's always a villain, but not like there's no really huge movie I could give you the name of that you would recognize. Like he does the voice in Assassin's Creed. I think that's some villain in Assassin's Creed is the biggest thing he's done recently. He's just always there and he's always evil.
Yeah, he mentions as much in his confessional where he's like, I usually am a bad person in what I do, but in real life, I'm a nice regular bloke. So we'll see how this goes. And so far, he's been fine. I don't think he's been like really prominent, but I feel like that's fine for now.
Yeah, he's not been a standout except for when he was wearing that fabulous funeral kilt in the second episode, and that's going up on my wall. Jonathan Ross. Okay.
Yes.
Jonathan
I've seen
Ross.
his show. I've seen his talk show before.
Okay. Your thoughts on Jonathan?
Fun. Now I'll admit I've seen his talk show less than I've seen Graham's. So it might not stick out to me. But again, when I'm looking for celebrity interviews, I look up like UK based, and Jonathan always has people I've wanted to see on, and it's a fun time. I feel like if I remember correctly, him and was a Big Nasty had a very fun back and forth on a bunch of those episodes that I've watched. But beyond that, not familiar. Not surprised that Jonathan is in the turret, though, I will say.
No, great casting. He's probably the second most famous person here.
Mhm.
He's a really big deal, like paid a ludicrous amount of money by the BBC, which was a bit of a scandal. He's kind of, I think of him as like the bad boy of the BBC, and the BBC stands for British Broadcasting Corporation. Get your mind out of the gutter, Americans.
I
He
think all of us
is
were on the same page. The British
okay. Okay,
Broadcasting. I would have said company, but it's corporation.
it might be
What's the
company.
American meaning, Annabelle?
ABC, American Broadcasting.
No, the you said get your minds out of the gutter. What is that? All right,
Well,
let's go
all
back
I'm
to the
saying
cast.
is I will go there, Pooya.
I don't doubt that you will.
Yeah, he's been involved in like various different scandals for saying something inappropriate,
Oh
slightly
no.
lewd. Not like just he's lewd. He's a 90s pop celebrity of an era, like very what you would expect. It doesn't shock me that he's not only a traitor, but that he is also like a control freak up there, bossing everybody around, telling Alan Carr what to do, and then getting exasperated when he does it.
Yeah.
And honestly, this man's outfits, the fabulous fur coats, he is just the moment, and I'm obsessed with him.
Yeah, I'm looking through his controversies. He kind of likes one joke that he uses quite a bit. It looks
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah. Keep spamming this one move. Okay.
Basically about how he would love to make respectful love to various celebrities. Um,
Yep.
Tamika Empson, I was not familiar with her. Apparently, she's from EastEnders, which is huge there, but I don't watch.
Yes. Hmm.
And she's not really been that present in these episodes, except for copping a bit of heat at the round table.
Yeah, getting hard accused by some people for Lord knows what. I haven't seen enough of her. I guess the one thing was, and a lot of them are going off of extra reactions, a little too big a reaction, so much that they think it could be fake.
Yes, flabbergasted, famously. Ruth Codd, I did recognize her, but I think it's more from seeing her online rather than anything she's in. She was discovered on TikTok and then starred in a couple of
Oh,
Netflix series without having any actual, experience acting before that. So that's quite cool. She is, I'm trying to find where my notes for her have gone. Yeah, so she was in the Fall of the House of Usher. I like vaguely recognized her, but didn't know that much. And she's been fine.
mhm.
I think she's been quite fun so far.
Been fun energy for sure. And like, I liked because Nico and her talked immediately about how there could be a young person. They seem to be fine to work together, but I don't know where that's gone yet. She's been very fun. I feel like she's also bringing
Yeah.
a different fashion sense to the castle, which you always want as well. And yeah, she's someone who's she's probably one of the only people that's around my age range. So yay.
We love a goth goddess.
Hmm.
Celia Imrie.
Yes.
You know of her? No.
Can't say that I do.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Celia is an icon, a national icon. She's huge. She's just in absolutely everything, which is why I can't believe that you've never seen her before.
Well, I've seen her
Also,
before. I'm looking at this list. I've seen all the Bridget
yes.
Joneses. I don't remember her in them, but also I don't remember
Well,
anyone
she's
else.
also
But
in
yeah,
she's not a main character in Bridget Jones. She's also like, but she's in Best Marigold Hotel.
I've
She's
never
like a
seen
main
it.
character. Okay. Calendar Girls. She just like pops up everywhere. And I don't know. She's huge and she's great and I'm obsessed with her. I love her in this show as well. Just the way she's flowing out all of these like flirty lines. She's hitting on Rugby Joe in the car, telling him, "Oh, you've got beautiful eyes." And just, I don't know. She's coming off quite smug as well when she's like, "Oh, I don't know if I trust you. I don't know if I trust anyone." Like, go off, Celia.
Celia's going to be a lot of fun. I can already tell. She said the very words "the traitors" cause a lot of excitement. So this is someone who, again, I feel like I see a celebrity. I think they're too famous to be here. They're probably not going to care. She is playing the part. I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, as I said, they're playing for charity and they're appearance free. I mean, except for Charlotte Church, who it sounds like might be in a bit of a financial strife. None of them are there for the appearance fee. Like, they've got to be doing it for the love of it. And Celia Imrie, I think I'm getting the impression she's so worried about being fooled that she's going to be too suspicious. She's not going and too wishy-washy. I mean, the fact she's turning on Nick, no one has done more for her than Nick, and she can't even buddy up with Nick.
Yeah, give Nick a chance. He loves you.
I know. Stop hanging out with the other toffs and make friends. Kate, I had never heard of Kate. Even when I looked at her bio, I was like, not ringing any bells. She is apparently a broadcaster presenter, hosted one of the seasons of The British Biggest Loser.
Okay, one of.
But to me, she's most famous for being on the receiving end of Tom Daly's fatal twink side eye.
Kate looking to be potentially one of our first banished here.
Absolutely. And she's like, what can I say? I'm a ham. And girl, same. I get it. Sometimes the hams have got a ham.
And sometimes the hams get punished.
Oh, delicious. All right. Finally, we've got David Olusoga. Sorry, David. He's a historian. I'm assuming you've never heard of this man in your life, but don't worry.
Why, do I not look like I enjoy a good bit of history? Do I not look like that type of guy?
Well, you said you only knew a handful of them on the cast, and I think we have already covered this.
Thought I hit quota.
I think you've hit your quota. Are you a fan of David's?
Yes, he's a BAFTA-winning filmmaker on history stuff. Like, if you want history, his shit is the stuff you're watching.
You've never watched it in your life, Pooya. You just Googled that.
Well, yeah, I did just Google that. But I love his contributions to The Guardian.
I never forget a hot man who loves history. So I did recognize David. Again, couldn't exactly place where from, but I have actually seen several of his documentaries. I never forget someone hot and history loving. Not been much of an entity in this show, though.
No, I wouldn't say so. I feel a little offended that you didn't think I would also enjoy his stuff.
I'm sure you would enjoy documentaries. I'm not saying you don't enjoy documentaries. I'm just saying, what is the likelihood that you are actively seeking out British history documentaries?
Who knows? You know, what are the odds someone looks at me and you and thinks, yeah, these two definitely watched a show where everyone spoke Quebecois French and actively podcasted about it.
I don't know. I have a nerdy aura.
I feel like if they said pick the nerd in this podcast, they pick me.
We can fight over that title later.
No, they'd be wrong, but
yeah. We're 45 minutes in and haven't really got to the episode. So, here we go. Beautiful.
Yeah, I put together little additions here on the graphic to highlight the 3 traitors and who got murdered. So, okay, so what do you want to talk about with regards to this episode or dive deeper into?
Let's talk about, we've sort of already discussed alliance making or not and Nick's decision to help Celia. But more broadly, normally they arrive at the castle, they hang around at the castle, and then we go straight into traitors selection. This time, you're not allowed out. Keep on driving. And we instead start off with a mission. What did you think about that as a concept and format change?
I wasn't mad at it, because the mission was just dig up your grave for your shield. And the 6 of you that do it first, you get a shield. Because I think it immediately throws them into the show and reminds them, one of you is going to get murdered. So if you don't want to be that first person murdered, get you a shield. And I think, you know how sometimes, depending on the class you were in, or maybe this is just for me, but if I was in a classroom where everyone was hella, like, studious and trying to get A's, I did not want to not get an A. I was trying my best also. So if you're here and you're watching people hustle the grapes, drag a shield, you're like, oh, damn, I would like to survive also. Look at how hard everyone else is working. So I think it kind of almost forced everyone to get their game face on.
Yeah, and I like the first, it can often take a couple of episodes, I think, for the traitors to pick up. And I think immediately going into action here wasn't a bad call. I also think usually when we get a bunch of civilians, we need time to get to know them before the traitors selection.
Mm-hmm.
But this was made for the British audience, so they know, everybody already knows all of these cast members. We don't need to spend time them chatting around at the castle, getting to know each other. Like, they already know what's up.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point also, because we're talking about how Joe has was it open for Alan Carr, or toured with Alan Carr? Like, there's
Yeah.
connections here littered around. I mean, they're all part of the celebrity, so some of them would have had to have crossed paths. So you don't really need that, and the audience doesn't need VTs of every single person describing who they are and what they do. You know the names, just pull up. So I'm very happy with the choice they made here. And I think that it ultimately, for a celebrity season, it's not a bad way to start things off.
Also, as they were told that they had to dig in their grave to find a shield, I was like, there is no way Stephen Fry is getting down on his hands and knees, getting his fingernails dirty in the dirt. Even with a pair of gloves and wellies, I don't see it happening. And when they made him do it, again, what is my life? I can't believe this is real.
It was perfect. This was the perfect beginning. And like, again, I don't want to speak on it more because we already said everything needed to be said, but the fact that we saw people not even working on theirs and helping someone else out the gate, I think that adds for a lot of fun extra intrigue at the beginning. Because again, they do not have any more information than hunches when the game starts. This is still information that means nothing, because they really shouldn't be looking at this as a sus thing. But Nick has some suspicion on him now off of it, and that's fun to watch.
Yeah. So we go into Traitors selection. So we get Jonathan Catt, Alan Carr. I think we've already sort of spoken about what we think of these as choices. It's the perfect mixture of chaos, if you ask me. But there was a bit to come out of the Traitors selection.
Okay. And are we referring to specifically what?
I meant people reading into reactions. So everyone is staring down Kate, saying, this is where the Kate hate really starts. Like, oh, Kate's overreacting. Like, Claire's clocking her over here. I think somebody else also like Paloma is also sus on Claire and a little bit sus on Celia. Like, people are really reading into these reactions here. Paloma has that whole bit where she pretends that she's poisoned.
That was amazing. I did like that. They like having a good laugh, this cast, I find.
Yeah.
And I like that, but then I also like that when it got to roundtable, it was serious. Like, we were playing the game, but they're going to be laughing right after that anyway. So
totally. I mean, Alan's already throwing out that he thinks Jonathan's a traitor before Traitors selection. The pair of them are like joking about, see you up in the tower for a murder tonight, not realizing they are both in fact traitors.
Yeah, well, I like that he's going up to the tower and then he turns around and goes, yeah, I'll see you up there. Just so off the cuff, so cool. I think Alan's had a couple of moments like that where he's been soft accused and he just played it off very much as a joke in a way that no one has any further suspicions of.
Oh, it's so good. We also end up this day with this was the bit where I was like, bro, if this happened in any other season, you would be so gone. Kate goes around grilling everyone, asking them questions. So she asks yes or no questions, the first couple where she knows what the answer is, and then asks them to see if they're a traitor, thinking this is going to collect evidence on whether or not they're lying. And like, I have seen this happen in at least 2 other versions. And in both versions, this either ended up with everybody thinking that person was a traitor and banishing them, or it's spooking the traitors and that person getting murdered. Like, it's just a bad move.
I agree. I don't think it's great to both try and showcase how people are either lying or not lying. And, if you're a traitor, the it's kind of like using one of those $12 lie detector tests. It means nothing. It's not going to give you a result, but the paranoia that'll make will and could end up making a traitor feel like, I'm not going to risk it, because if she just decides that I seem suspect, I don't need anyone believing her. But then on the flip side, this is you're doing too much. Like, you are doing way too much. You don't know me that well to know if my eyes look different if I'm lying to you. Like, that's just not a thing that's there. So
No, I this is why I'm so convinced Kate is out. Like, I just think that it's seeded throughout these first 2 episodes. Kate's name is one of the first brought up immediately
mhm.
after Traitors selection, and it doesn't go anywhere. But we can fight over that when we get to it. We also have
Mhm.
another slight format shift here, Pooya, where there's no murder the first night. We want to keep our celebrities in for as long as possible.
Mhm.
Instead, they find out that they're going to have to murder someone in plain sight the next day. What did we think about this?
I am okay with this because I spent way too much time being annoyed that what was the point of the shields if no one's going to die? Only to find out that, okay, someone is dying. Just you didn't tell me till later. So, a first night murder in plain sight is great, and here's why. If everyone has knowledge of it, no one's expecting it to be night one. You're looking out for that mid 3, 4, 5 cycle. So, first night, no one's the wiser. Everyone's guards are kind of like heightened, but also low because it's so early in the game. So no one's going to overly read every little conversation they've had, which allows the traitors to also get away with it. I was petrified at the idea that the way for the traitors to do it was touch someone's face, because I thought, how are you going to do that all chill? And then Alan found the perfect way to do that chill. So
Yeah, of course. You just pretend there's an eyelash on someone's face, or the hair's there, or you've got a bit of a crumb. You're
but
not
if
in the
no
business
one
of touching other. You're not in the business of touching other people's faces, Pooya.
no, in my experience, I don't really, if I don't know you that well, it could get awkward. But
And
also I always, it's weird because I always want to let people know if something's going on with my face, tell me. Like, I'd rather you tell me than not saying anything, because I can adjust, I can fix it. And I have a big beard. Sometimes something might get stuck on it or something that I might have missed. If you let me know, I'm very happy with that. But no, I will not. I might tell you there's something on your face, but I wouldn't be like, oh, hey, here, let me. Nah, I don't think I could do that.
yeah, I think that's why Jonathan and Kat get Alan to do it, right? Because
Hmm.
he has the close relationships there to touch someone on the face and it not be weird. Whereas Jonathan does not need another sexual harassment scandal, and Kate is just not the kind of girl who'd be sticking her fingers in things without
Yeah, I think Alan had the perfect familiarity with people, and they had the perfect familiarity with him. Because even if you don't know him personally, but you know his performance, okay, he's a bit of a goofball, and this is not out of character for him. I will say the reason I was petrified is because Annabelle, until he was standing there with Paloma, I hadn't realized that, oh, he can just be like, oh, there's a bit of hair on your head. Like, let me help you
yeah,
move that. I, for some reason, thought it had to be like a full face palm. And I
a,
thought that makes
a
no
loving
sense.
caress.
Yeah, just like take it from the cheek to the neck. And I thought, okay, that's not going to happen. Like, that's a lot.
I don't know where you got that from, but I kind of love
I, I
it.
I am still very much traveled and hungover and tired, so maybe that's it.
Oh, and Alan is just shitting himself when he's like, I can't believe I'm a traitor. I can't
Hmm.
do this. Like, Jonathan's, pull yourself together, man.
That's the best
We are
part is that
traitors. Traitors.
I think Alan is better than he thinks he is, and I think that makes it even better because he is so nervous all the time. But then he's a smooth operator without realizing he's a smooth operator around these people. It's kind of magical.
I just him. There's a screenshot I can't wait for you to see of him with his little face poking out from underneath the traitor's hood, holding the lamp in front of him, and it's comedy. I can't. I
I will
can't.
definitely check it out. I'm gonna check out all the memes after this for sure.
You really do need to. So we skip breakfast the next day. Great call. They go straight to the mission, where Kate is very confident Alan is a faithful. Love that for him. And Stephen is obviously trying to pretend that, he's not ride or dies with Tom Daly because he's throwing out Tom Daly and Niko's names. Tom is the baby-faced assassin. And yeah, you know what? Niko is kind of intense.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, Niko, I feel like once, and you kind of see this evolve throughout the two episodes. I feel like once he knows his name is out there, once he knows people are going to look at him sideways a little bit, I think he kind of knows that he needs to get on the aggressive. I think, again, if you're coming in with your strap being, ain't nobody going to think of me because I'm going to play the stupid YouTuber. Once Stephen Fry knew who he was, that went out the window. He has to switch up his entire strategy that he came in with.
Yeah, totally. I think we've already pretty much covered this mission. So it's just the classic pulling the Trojan horse, having to answer questions. They get to show off their Shakespeare knowledge. Tom's jacked. Charlotte gives up her shield.
Charlotte, do you not want to stay in this castle? Why would you do this? But also, I feel like a lot of people were very much expecting people to just give them up willy-nilly.
Yeah. Yeah.
What did you think of that twist, actually? Let's talk about that real quick. The shields, the social element of, are you willing to be a team player and risk your shield or nah?
I liked it because there were so many shields, right? Already
Mhm.
6 of them had them, which is a lot. And we
Mhm.
saw this in the US as well, if you remember, when Tony got called out by Biggest Loser Bob for being a man. And all the housewives gave up their shields, and then they were outraged. And it does cause a bit of drama.
Yeah, I think that the drama that it causes, and we saw this with the US as well, is good because I think it forces everybody to, again, kind of navigate how they're going to be. Because if I don't have a shield, I am definitely very willing to make a big deal out of you having a shield. Not the most vocal, but if I don't have one, I don't want you to have one either. Let's go down together.
No.
So I have the audacity to think you should let yours go, while also watching you defend it and think I'm stupid for doing so. But then the drama that it gives us is perfect.
There is nothing that could prise that shield out of my fingers. Nothing at all.
Same. I don't care how many people are going to give me stink eye. We all had to dig our own graves to get it. I didn't face my death, which mentally, you know how weird that is to do? Looking at my own tombstone to then get a shield, to then give it up for what? Because Claire decided to pull the lever down because you couldn't remember how many people were dead in Romeo and Juliet? No, I'm not rewarding your stupidity. No.
Tom found that very sus, Pooya. Very sus. He thinks that the traitors were given a task, so he's halfway there, that they had to try and get people to give up as many shields as possible. Claire is a traitor. I also love how Alan just jumps in to defend people as well. Here, Alan, and it's always Alan and Tom. They're always bickering. He's like, I think that you're the traitor, Tom. Leave Claire alone. And then the next day, Tom's going to be calling out Kate and saying, she says flabbergasted. Who even uses the word flabbergasted? I think Kate's a traitor. You can't think someone's a traitor just because they have a better vocabulary than you, Tom.
I
love this too.
I'm living for that kind of banter. That's what I'm here for. Because I do feel like some people don't like when you use bigger words. They're not a fan of it.
It's so good. So that's when they get back, that's where they find out that they've got to do the murder in plain sight, which is for Alan to fondle this Lily and then gently caress somebody on the face. which he's running around madly nervous about, talking about it loudly with Kat, who's like slowly dying inside. Meanwhile, Jonathan made a pretty big slip up. I don't know if Rugby Joe caught this or not, but Jonathan completely forgets that he has a shield.
Must be nice being comfortable. I don't think Rugby
Yeah.
Joe clocked it. I really don't.
I don't know. I mean, the fact that they showed it.
But would it have not come up now? Like, do you think it comes up later on, like in the next roundtable?
Yeah, I think maybe Rugby Joe. My prediction is a few episodes from now, Rugby Joe will be putting together the bits of evidence and he will think, oh, and remember that time where I had to remind Jonathan he had a shield? Isn't that weird?
I will say that is a huge red flag if someone doesn't remember they're safe. Like, that is
Yeah.
your comfort. If you don't remember that, how comfortable are you more than just having a shield? So now that's good accusation right there.
So we end on a cliffhanger here, which hurt my heart. I was like, I need to see Alan do this to somebody. But I did think he said he was going to go for one of the girlies, and I was already concerned it was going to be the Rosemary to his time, Paloma.
That's the thing with the murder in plain sight. And we've seen this happen a couple times now. It is a lot easier to just get someone you're friends with or familiar with because no one, like, literally people are like, Alan, that's your friend. How do you feel about that? Or Alan at the round table, like, tell us, like, you're Paloma's friend. Did she have any names? And Alan's like, yeah, 2 names, but she never got to tell me because they took her away. So that's that's like, talk about murder in plain sight. That is the best murder in plain sight, is to just take one of your own out, because no one's going to think it was weird that you hugged them or touched them or gave them a drink. It's not going to come back to you.
Yeah, actually, that was what I wanted to say about why I liked having a murder in plain sight so early in the game. Couple of things. First of all, it gives the faithful evidence. Usually you go into that first round table and you have absolutely nothing to work with. So this gives you something to start with. The second thing that I like is that it forces the traitors to, in some ways, act against their own interests. I think they start trying to shore up their alliances via murders early on and keep in people who they get along with well and get rid of some of the smart people. Whereas the nature of the tasks tends to mean that they actually end up murdering their own friends here. And then I think it also has the potential to cause friction early between the traitors too, as Alan, in another world, could have felt pressured by Jonathan and Kat to be the person to put himself at risk.
Yeah, I think it just helped that I think Alan just understood this. I got to do this one. Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
But again, I know we talked about this earlier, but the whole Alan not being able to whisper, Kat having to be like, can you you're talking very loudly. And he's like, yeah, what a task at hand, huh? Like, sir, please, inside
I'm
voice.
going to murder a woman. Alan, I'm begging you. Jonathan's despairing over him.
I
Where
have
is
a
he gone
feeling
now?
being this invested into Alan is going to give me anxiety, because I do feel like there's going to be moments where I'm like, oh, this is a trap. Like, you're leaving crumbs everywhere. But as long as no one else is picking up on it, it's fine. But that doesn't mean my anxiety goes away.
No, I love it so much. It's so messy. He's like, Paloma goes for a fatal cup of tea with Alan, and that's where I assume he does the face stroking. Niko's running around being super intense. And when they get back to the trader's turret, like, he's having a mentee B, an emotional breakdown. He's like, oh, murdered my best friend. And Jonathan, toughen up. We are traitors.
I do think Jonathan and Kat are empowering each other to be like, look at us being the most well-adjusted people in this turret. And then they're just, everything negative about the traitors so far is on Alan. And they're very, like, Jonathan does not shy away from calling him out on it at every chance he gets.
I love it. I think Jonathan's going to be the first to go, though, of the traitors. I think he can't help himself. He's got to be the big cheese in the tower, and then he can't stop being the big cheese of the faithful as well. We've already seen this little shield slip up. I think I think they'll catch Jonathan before they catch the other two.
I would also go that way. I think Alan, I've seen this dance one too many times now, where there's someone who looks so bait, and then they're not the one that leaves, and instead it's somebody else. We literally just covered Ireland, where both of us were like, it's gonna be this guy, and then that guy outlasted every other traitor. So to me, Alan is safe. Kat has been safe. I feel like Kat also, if I'm talking about it from an edit POV, I feel like Kat's been set up the best as far as like a story that's fleshed out, some characteristics that were added when they didn't need to be, and we're getting to see a lot of her POV. That does leave Jonathan, but my God, if I have it my way, these three do not leave anytime soon. Even if Jonathan's the first, let him be the first on episode 8. For all
I
I care.
love them. If this was Ireland, then Porty is Alan, Caitlin is Kat, and Jonathan is absolutely Eamon. And he's going to Eamon himself.
100%. Yeah, Jonathan speaks like Eamon. Like, give the blood. We need the blood. Toughen up. Like, this is, yeah. And I can't wait to see if he cackles at one of these things publicly.
I know. I'm so excited. So the next day at breakfast, Kate's name is back up there again. Like, Claire is looking at Kate, Ruth is looking at Kate. Everybody is like, watch Kate's face when we find out who's been murdered. Jonathan's trying to push the Niko agenda, which is, again, like, what makes you feel convinced that it's going to be Niko? I just did not even, it never occurred to me.
I feel like he just sticks out. Again, he's the one YouTuber. They know him as this prankster. Like, if they're going to simplify him, that's how they see him as. And I think what always happens, unfortunately, is that people are so quick to assume that a traitor is in the coffins. Always, there's a traitor in the coffins. And Niko being in the coffins, they voted Lucy, which meant they trust her the most. Paloma leaves. That leaves Niko. So I think that's my worry there, is that, and the fact that we got a big spike at the end of the episode of Niko scrambling his confessionals about how him being first banished is starting to like materialize. So it's almost like maybe I'm just sensitive to not wanting to lose him, that I'm very worried about him here more than anything. But it's very clearly between him and Kate. Now, I do have all the votes written down, and I did count them before, or in the middle of our pod here. We have 10 votes that have been revealed so far, and we have 8 votes remaining by that math. So anything could happen, but then also in the midst of this, you have a vote like, who was the one that defended Niko? Was it Mark who ends up voting Tamika?
Yeah. So and comedian Joe hasn't voted yet. So Alan Carr, Rugby Joe, and Lucy have voted for Niko.
And Niko voted Tom Daly. He didn't pile it on Kate, which
was a bad strategic choice. Mm-hmm. Kate, though, voted for Tamika, so it's not like she's piled on Niko. Yes. And then Kat, Tamika, and Ruth are voting for Kate. Like, so if we go back, Stephen Fry is one of the people who has been suspicious of Niko just because he's a prankster. And then Paloma, oh my God, Paloma doesn't help the situation because Claudia comes, they're like, oh my God, there's no murder. Maybe there's a recruitment. She's like, no, girlies. Someone's been poisoned. We're going to find out who. And Paloma reveals, Niko gave me like an especially long hug goodbye last night. Yep. And that is not helpful.
No. The fact that, which, by the way, Niko, how long was this goddamn hug that was that memorable and stuck out? Like, keep it to 3 seconds. You don't know these people. 3 seconds and move on. Please.
Okay, we've not really captured how fun Tom Daly has been these episodes either. Like, he's just always strategizing, giving people bitchy looks. Like, him and Charlotte are having a chat, and then Niko comes up, and Tom just kind of stares him down until he leaves. It's like, oh, that was weird. Why did he want to talk to us?
Yeah, I've been catching the screenshots of the Tom side eyes. There's this one of him side-eyeing Kate that I would like to add into our evidence here for people to get a gander of. This.
I screenshot this myself and tweeted it, and then immediately saw that everybody else had done exactly the same thing. Like, that is the twink side-eye that killed Kate.
That was incredible. I actually missed this on my watch, so I'm happy
Oh,
someone else caught it.
so good. And shout out to the outfits. So the mission, this one is the classic funeral march. We
Hmm.
had Mark in the funeral kilt. Rugby Joe is dressed as like a gangster. Jonathan Ross is wearing this elaborate fur coat starring Jonathan Ross. Celia's fascinator. Tom Daly's shirt is basically unbuttoned down to his belly button. It's just amazing.
They're cooking. I mean, with celebrities, the one thing that should be guaranteed is that they know how to get outfits done. Also, like
Yeah.
you're not going to get anyone with a baseball cap in this joint.
No. My theory was that they had to have this mission so early so that we could see everybody's outfits.
Yeah, I want to highlight this also. Someone said, you have got to respect the drip to be fair, and it's of Jonathan, and I
Oh,
want the
yes.
Jonathan drip to also be showcased here as well for our
It's so good.
lovely. It's amazing.
Look at him.
Hold up. There we go.
He's
Look at this
just
man.
it's yeah, look at it. Look at
In
it. The glass.
charge.
He's
Low-key,
dyed
that is a
hair.
traitor, though. That if I looked at his outfit, you seem like a very big traitor. Like this is traitor behavior.
I know. He's giving evil Nick Cage. And he just so bossy. Like he's just having to give his opinion on everything in all of the missions and be like, no, it's this person or this person. Then when they find out Paloma has been murdered and it's super emotional, and Jonathan goes, well, Alan, you were her best friend. Why don't you give her eulogy? Like, oh, Jonathan.
Okay, let's be real. Do you think Jonathan's going to be the first one to cast the traitor on traitor violence stone?
Yeah, and everyone's going to side with Alan.
It's not going to be good, but it's going to be
No.
very fun. So,
Yes. I am actually so excited about that. So, I mean,
same.
I guess the only other real thing to talk about is this last roundtable. As we've noted, it's kind of getting down to between Niko and Kate, but there are some votes on Tamika and Tom as well. What did you think about people's various roundtable performances?
Okay, so the standouts to me was I think Niko put together it was very passionate, a little nervousy, but I think that's almost good in a situation like this where people believed him. So I think Niko did a good bit of defense here. So that was good. I think Kate's sometimes I'm just a ham is not enough of an excuse, especially when you're not like you almost have to have a little bit of offended in your tone. Like she's a little too cool with, all right, yeah, I'm just a ham. What do you want from me? Let me move on. You have to sound like, are you joking me? That's why? Like listen, I'm just an expressive person. I'm sorry if that's who I am. You have to understand, I'm gonna get up there and tell you I'm a faithful. Like maybe a little more passion is what I'm looking for. Kate was a little too nonchalant, whereas Niko was clearly a lot more passionate, enough so that people were like, I actually changed my mind on Niko. And like I think other people coming to his defense was good. Because it's an endorsement from, like, let's say Mark, or an endorsement from Joe Wilkinson, who don't know if they don't know Niko, they might know Joe. And they're like, okay, if Joe believes him, then who am I to not believe him?
Yeah. I thought he did a good job. I thought it was good that he had people jumping in to defend him as well. Like Mark, for instance, and Mark redirecting to somebody else. I thought Tom Daly unusually quiet. For 2 episodes, we have seen him as one of the ones finding evidence, sharing evidence, gossiping, putting together, being really active in missions. And then he said absolutely nothing at this roundtable.
Yeah, it was just way too silent for the occasion. I feel like we're gonna have a couple of people probably come to the spot moving forward. They're gonna be a little more vocal. It's fine to be sleepy, I guess, if there's not a lot of eyes on you, but if it doesn't fit your character, I would worry about that a little bit.
Yeah. All right. Shall we go into predictions?
2 things before we do, and then
Oh,
I'm down. So one thing is, we didn't talk about this moment, but when Alan does the face touch and then comes out, sits next to Jonathan, and says, "All done," and gives a little wink. That was nuts. Like Alan has no. Alan is like, "I'm worse than Linda," and then proceeds to do worse things than Linda. Like, if you're aware of that, you'd think you're gonna tidy it up a little bit.
I love him. I love him. I love him. I love him. That is
He's amazing.
so messy. Stephen Fry at this round table, opening with Sherlock Holmes quotes, getting everyone to come back to the evidence. It's just, this is the perfect show. This is the perfect show. And I'm so glad that you enjoyed it. I was so worried you were going to be angry because we didn't get a banishment at the end. And yeah, it was a little bit annoying, but I'm also like, it means that I get to see them all. I mean, I don't care that much about Kate, but I get to see them all at the round table next time. I just hope we don't get more cliffhangers. I could deal with it for the intro week. I don't want this to be a season full of cliffhangers.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to predict because I can't think of a show where we've had 2 episode seasons so far. I feel like every show that happens is either those US, which is 1 episode a week, or Canada, 1 episode a week, versus the UK or AU, or wait, was AU 2 episodes a week actually?
I think it was 3. We
Was it
had
3?
1 2-episode week and the rest were 3.
Yeah, so 2 episodes. I'm like, I've made the claim that 2 could be the sweet spot where the season doesn't go too fast or too slow. But if you're gonna cliffhanger it, I will happily take 1 or 3 over a cliffhanger moving forward. But I agree with you for episode 1, especially for you and I, because we got to kind of talk about each cast member at length. That helped, because this podcast could have been 2.5 hours if we even had the banishment. So I guess for this week we'll allow it. After this, don't do this to us. Have you watched Paloma seeing who the traitors are?
Yes, I have. Have you?
I had the clip playing in the corner, and her reaction is everything. I recommend people watch it. Yeah.
Hilarious. I watched her Uncloaked as well. She's still very bitter with Alan, clearly, but says she's forgiven him. And apparently really struggled. I think a lot of them struggled with just the psychological element of this game. It is really hard to tell watching it, but it is very full on. And if it's not something you're used to, I can see.
That doesn't surprise me. I mean, again, who here would have had the most experience with the traitors as a participant? And it might be the Taskmaster people, but at the end of the day with Taskmaster, the points don't quite matter. It's all about the banter and the vibes. So the reality TV wise, like, this is a little more intense. You have to actively accuse friends. You have to actively stab friends in the back. And for Paloma, it's hard not to empathize with her, because it's like, bro, there were 19 people in this castle. You murdered me first. That would hurt. I don't care that it makes sense. I would be upset. Annabelle, if you and I were in the castle and you took me out first, I would be bothered. I would be very bothered. We could recover from it, but I would.
But I confess,
I would milk the sympathy for years. I would.
I would never murder you, Pooya, but I did play a Traitors Org over the weekend, and I won, but I was recruited halfway through, and the first thing I did was murder my bestie. So no promises. What can I say?
Annabelle, that's ruthless.
It was a bit toxic of me.
I would totally do the same thing to you, that deep in the game, for sure.
Joe Wilkinson obviously has a lot of experience, having played the celebrity Great British Bake Off, but I get the feeling the vibes are a little bit nicer over there.
A little bit. I think Niko's actually done quite a few things that could have been good preparation for this. Some of the videos they've done is they'll have like 5 people who are, let's say, bus drivers, and they'll insert one of the beta squad guys in turns into the group, and they have to pretend to blend in and be a bus driver, and then they have to get voted, like they have to vote out the person who's the imposter. So they've done that. A lot of these YouTubers, they play Among Us, they play all these other games. So Niko might be the most familiar with this stuff, but I think also for Niko, I think there's a lot of pressure if he wants to do well. He doesn't want to look a fool. So
yeah. You don't want to be murdered by Stephen Fry. Okay, Are we ready for predictions now?
Let's make them.
Okay, so banishments. You and I are on opposite sides here. I'm thinking Kate, you're thinking Niko. I think that's fun.
Hmm.
Who do we think is going to be the next to be murdered?
Okay. Honestly, an easy shout if Niko goes is just get Lucy out of there also. Lucy, who is getting the most votes to be faithful, just chuck her out while no one's going to look at her moving forward. Because if Niko leaves and your thought is, oh, maybe they'll go back to the coffin theory and go to Lucy. Yeah, but Lucy, I feel like no one's going to look at it that way. So Lucy wouldn't be a bad shout. But if I'm making my prediction, they do not want Nick out of here because I think they can get Nick banished. Maybe that's a possibility for sure. Yo,
Nick Mohammed.
you want to cause problems? You murder Celia. Nick would be
Oh,
devastated.
Nick would be devastated. I was thinking along the lines of who are they viewing as threats? And I think they're
Oh,
viewing
okay.
Stephen Fry, Tom Daly, Nick Mohammed have come out as being intelligent in the missions. You don't want to
Mm-hmm.
murder Nico because he's getting heat. Maybe you're
No,
right. Maybe they do think there's enough sus on Nick Mohammed. So I could see they're not going to murder Stephen Fry. They know that the entire nation would riot if Stephen Fry was the second murder. But I
that
could see a
early,
Tom
yeah.
Daly murder. I could see a Tom Daly murder.
I mean, if Kate doesn't leave, I could see Tom leaving in a Kate pin.
Yeah.
That could be a call. Yeah. I think that both Joes are safe. I don't think they're going anywhere
No.
for right now. I think Tamika again has some suspicion on her. Ruth could be our WTF murder where you're just killing someone to kind of confuse everybody, but I still don't see that for her. I
David,
don't think
who even is he? I don't think it's going to be him.
David, oh, the historian. Yeah, I have
Yeah,
to look at
exactly.
the
You don't even
cast again.
remember who he
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Sorry, I mess with his stuff though. I've checked out the Guardian and
Yeah,
stuff.
famously.
Um, yeah. Okay, so those are our predictions there, and we've already predicted Jonathan Ross as the first traitor out in the event that happens next week. Um, let's predict who we think is the next recruited.
Ooh, that is a good call. Ooh, I could see who do I think is going to stick around long enough to be recruited is the real question. I
Great
could
question.
see you know what? Ruth has had quite a bit of visibility. I think they could
Mm-hmm.
recruit Ruth.
Damn it. Okay,
Oh, is
I'll
that your
switch up.
pick?
Yeah, but I'll switch up. I'll switch up. I think my guy Nick Muhammad is going to end up in that
Yeah.
turret, and here's why. I think that ultimately, even though there's some potential to murder the intelligent man, I think they see him as a mission asset. I think they recognize him as a mission asset, so that keeps him in there. But if there's enough fanning of the Nick flames, he could get recruited to be chucked out.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. What about crush picks?
Are you locking in Charlotte?
I want to lock in Charlotte and Nick, I think.
Okay. First of all, I'm
Or
going to
Cat. Oh, that's hard.
I'm going to
Sorry.
snitch to
Sorry.
you, snitch on you to your group chat that Tom Daly did not get picked there. But whatever,
I don't
whatever.
know. How would we
I would go with
work? We're both
Ruth.
bottoms.
I would go Ruth, and I could go with my guy, the historian, but I'm gonna go with Joe Marler. I'm gonna go with our rugby player here
Oh,
as the other. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Puffy agreed with that one. He liked that choice.
Mm-hmm. Puffy sees the vision.
He does. He's into it. Okay. All right. Do we want to do winner pick? I think it's too hard to do winner picks.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I
That
can't do that at
literally
this
would be
stage.
us stabbing in the dark. Although, what could be fun is we can put a winner pick in and then every week we adjust that, right? So, for example, if I picked, let's say, Cat, and
Yeah.
then I just stay on Cat and then Cat wins the whole thing, I got it in the first week versus if I
I love
picked
that.
7 people into the lead up to the finale, then I don't look stupid because it's the Traitors, but that can be something fun for us to brag and talk shit about it to each other.
I like that. I think Kat is looking the best out of the traitors. So maybe I should pick a faithful.
Mhm.
And in that case, I'm going to go with a safe option. Give me a long lasting lesbian. Give me Claire.
Claire. Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
they've all been.
Interesting. I still could see Claire getting the receipts of locking in that answer. I think that could come back to haunt her.
Of course. I don't think she'll
Yeah.
actually win. I feel better about Kat.
Yeah. Well, despite the turret being in a position where it's safe right now, I think there's a world where it does burn down, but what will not burn down with that turret is Kat Burns, who is my pick for the moment. So I'll
Ooh,
put
I
Kat
love
in.
that.
Yeah. And then we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Oh, who is someone who you think that we could end up being higher on next week? Someone whose stock right now is at an all-time low, and then next week we're like, you know what? They had a coming out party. That was a great time. That was good. I'm happy they're here.
Okay, I think that's a good one. All right, he doesn't exist. You don't even remember his name, even though you claim to own all of his documentaries. Give me my man, David.
Okay. We are a little too on the same wavelength because I was going to pick him, but that's fine. I'm going to go ahead. Could I even? I don't think Celia's stock is low, though. I think, if anything, her stock is very high.
I think she's coming off as a bit, has no idea what's going on and a bit smug. Like, I don't know that she's coming off, even though she's a national treasure and we love her, I don't know that she's coming off as great at the game.
I feel like the cheat code is that Celia's probably guaranteed more TV time just by proxy of being a national treasure. So with that being said, I'm going to go and pick someone who based on what I've been told today, could be very fun and we've just not seen enough of. Give me Lucy, who I do not see going home because that would be wild to see Lucy go home.
I love that. That's a great pick. Lucy is fantastic.
All right, perfect. All right, I think that's everything then, unless there's anything else you wanted to touch on before we head on out here.
No, I'm currently fighting with my dog in the sidelines, so I think now's a great time to wrap it up.
All right, it's time to land the plane. We hope you had fun here with us. Sound off in the comments. Who have you been liking from this season? Who are you meeting for the first time? Basically, any thought you have had, put in the comments. We do like to read them. So do that. If you are not already subscribed to the feed, please do so on WeKnowTraitors.com. You can find us on Spotify, on Apple, all the podcatchers in the world. And obviously, if you're subscribed to the YouTube channel for Rob as a Podcast, you get the videos here every week. This is not the day we will be recording on. This just happened to be a very weird week because I was in New York the whole week. And by the time I was able to fly back and have time to watch the episodes, we landed on this Sunday, Monday release. And remind me, Annabelle, because I wasn't around this week, what days do we get the episodes on? Tuesday, Wednesday?
Yeah, no, I think you
Wednesday,
get them
Thursday.
on Wednesday, Thursday, and I get them Thursday, Friday.
Okay. So it'll probably be closer to a weekend, but it'll be earlier weekend than latter weekend. I think that's the plan for us here. We can make that quick turnaround happen for y'all. So be on the lookout for those. And you can find me on all socials at Pooyaism, twitch.tv/Pooya. I'm still talking 90 Day Fiance, which actually I'm not going to do the faux pas I've done before where I guilt the podcaster into accepting my invite to be on the pod on air. So I'm going to ask Annabelle after this if she'll join me, but that's fine. So check that out and check out the pal with me and Liana, where this week she did try to gaslight me into thinking she'd be a good criminal, which I respectfully disagree. But check that out to see the context for that. Annabelle, I'm sorry. I should have led with where can people find you? What do you have going on?
People can find me Instagram and Twitter, Annabelle CE. They can also find me as a guest on the 90 Day Fiance podcast next week, by the sounds of it. And I will be covering the Traitors Canada starting next week over at Babes on the Brink. Our cast assessment should be coming out any day now.
And I will also be covering Traitors Canada starting next week on this network with Scally. But check out Babes on the Brink for the cast preview because we are not doing one over here. So if you want to check that out, if you want to get some first impressions in, Annabelle literally put on a showcase on how detailed and thorough she is and how much vibe she injects into every conversation. All right. We thank y'all for hanging out with us. We'll see you next week for some more Celebrity Traitors UK. But until then, take care. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
This is RHAP. We Know Reality TV.